Morning, everyone. On Gulliver's Schools. Remember that in this course we are paying attention to 18th century literature. Which places in the 18th century? And as I said, for this course we are dealing with 18th century literature, the neoclassical period. So Gulliver's Travels is one of the works published in the neoclassical period, one of the earliest prose fiction. It's a satire. It's a satire. Remember that satire was the dominant art form in the neoclassical period. So this is satire in prose. It can be studied as a Menippean satire, and also be studied as a Juvenian satire. The long title of the work is The Longings of the World in 4 parts by Lemuel Gulliver. First, a surgeon, and then a captain of several ships. That is the long title of the work. I'll take it again. Gulliver's Travels, or Travels into Several Remote Nations of the World. Full stop. In 4 parts, comma, by Lemuel Gulliver, comma, first a surgeon, comma, and then a captain of several ships. Full stop. I'll take it again for the last time. The long title of the novel is Gulliver Travels, comma, or Travels into Several Remote Nations of the World. Full stop. In 4 parts, comma, by Lemuel Gulliver, comma, first a surgeon, comma, and then a captain of several ships. Full stop. All right? The novel is organized in 4 parts. The novel is organized in 4 parts. Part 1 is entitled A Voyage to Lilliput. Part 1 is entitled A Voyage to Lilliput. Part 2 is entitled A Voyage to Brobdingnag. Part 2 is entitled A Voyage to Brobdingnag. Part 3 is entitled A Voyage to Laputa, Balnibarbi, Lugnak, Club Dubdrip, and Japan. Part 3 is entitled A Voyage to Laputa, Balnibarbi, Lugnak, Club-Dub-Drip, and Japan. Balnibarbi is spelled Balnibarbi. Lugnak is spelled Luggnag. Lugnak. Luggnag. Lugnak. Club-Dub-Drip is spelled GLUBBDUBDRIB. And Japan. Part 4 is entitled A Voyage to Winims. A Voyage to the Winims. Winims is the primary pronunciation of the word. Some also call it Houyhnhnms, all right? But Winims is the primary pronunciation. It is spelled Houyhnhnms, Winims. The Voyage to the Winims. In part 1 of Jonathan Swift's Gulliver's Travels, the central character and the narrator of the novel, Gulliver, is shipwrecked in an island populated by dwarfs, tiny little human beings known as the Lilliputians. They are about 6 inches tall, and in relation to Gulliver, they are very small. So in this land, Gulliver is a giant, and the Lilliputians are diminutive creatures. Soon, Gulliver learns that these people, these Lilliputians, are very troublesome and warlike in spite of their sizes. They have both problems within themselves in their society, and they also have problems with their neighbors. They cannot stay in peace with their neighbors. They have always been fighting. They have internal problems. They are divided in their politics and religion, as can be seen in the issue of which part of the egg to open or to crack when trying to eat the egg. Which part of the egg should be open? Is it the small part or the big part? So those who believe that the big part of the egg should be open are called the big Indians, and those who believe that the small part of the egg should be opened are called the small Indians. And as I said in our last class, this issue signals the internal division in Lilliput, especially the political and religious divisions. Religious divisions between the Catholics and the Protestants. And if you like, between the Tories and the Whigs. In the war with the Blefuscus, actually it is Blefuscu, B-L-E-F-U-S-C-U, Blefuscu. All right, in the war with Blefuscu, the Lilliputians show themselves to be incapable of living in peace with their neighbors. And of course, you must understand that England was always at war with France and other neighboring countries. So in part 1, we see how Swift satirizes the English people who occupies a tiny island but are seen as adventurous people who go out to conquer other nations of the earth. As long as Gulliver serves the interest of the Lilliputian king, he is a friend to the king and to the country. But once he refuses to obey the king because of his conscience, Gulliver becomes the enemy, and all his past good deeds are used against him. For instance, Gulliver helps the Lilliputians to defeat Blefuscu in the war that they had. But when he refuses to annex Blefuscu to Lilliput, the king is angry and begins to conspire against him. And this will lead to Gulliver running away from Lilliput with the help of one of the Kerchers to Blefuscu, which he helped Lilliput to conquer. And it is in Blefuscu that he begins to realize that, the person that you think is the enemy might not be the enemy at all, because he is treated kindly in Blefuscu, and he is assisted to leave the island by the very people that he conquered. Okay? So it appears that in this book, Swift is trying to tell us the two sides to human nature. Because one of the principal concerns in Gulliver's Travels is the depiction of human nature. At the level of politics and the level of religion, at the level of individuals' existence, and at the level of our collective existence as a people, as a race, as a tribe, as a clan. The work deals with the springs of human nature. So human nature is bipolar, and these two sides of human nature are portrayed in the work. Sometimes we are extremely good, and sometimes we are extremely bad or evil. This is shown in Gulliver's Travels. Let's look at Book 2. Book 2 is entitled A Voyage to Brobdingnag. Whereas the Lilliputians were objects of curiosity to Gulliver in Lilliput. In Brobdingnag, it is Gulliver who is the object of curiosity. In fact, the situation is completely reversed in Brobdingnag. The situation is completely reversed in Brobdingnag because in Brobdingnag, the Brobdingnagians are the giants, whereas Gulliver is the dwarf, is a tiny man. So one of the motifs that's portrayed in this work is the restlessness of the Englishman, the restlessness of the average Englishman, the adventurous nature of the average English person in the 18th century. Because each time that Gulliver goes home, he will tell himself that he will not travel again. That nothing in the world will make him travel again after he has succeeded, after he has been rescued from each disaster. But he will barely stay a year or two. He will be bored. He will be overcome by boredom, and he will want to go back to sea. All right? And the name of the ship that Gulliver travels in, the name of the ship that Gulliver travels in the second voyage, the Brobdingnag, is very instructive in this regard, because the name of the ship is Adventure. Adventure. This ship is blown off course. Disaster is always waiting on the wings at sea. Either from nature or from human beings themselves, from people that Gulliver trusted. So this time around, a storm blows the ship off course, and at a point, Gulliver is abandoned by his crew members in a peninsula. At the point, Gulliver is abandoned by his crew members in a peninsula. This place turns out to be Brobdingnag, a land inhabited by giants. The place turns out to be Brobdingnag, a land inhabited by giants. Gulliver is found by a farmer in Brobdingnag and taken to the house. The farmer is a giant about 72 feet tall. In relation to this farmer, and of course, afterwards, the people in Brobdingnag, Gulliver is a Lilliputian. Gulliver is a Lilliputian in Brobdingnag. And he becomes an object of curiosity. The Brobdingnagians just look at him and wonder, so human beings can be this small? Whereas all the while, Gulliver has been thinking himself to be a human being, a real human being. But in Brobdingnag, he is only a mimicry. He's only someone who tries to mimic humanity, but not necessarily human. The real humans are the Brobdingnagians. So all this while, Gulliver and his people have been mimicking humanity, trying to be humans, but they were never humans. So the book points to us, probably that perhaps we need to be humble as human beings, because probably somewhere there might be better human beings than we are. Okay? Because here on earth, human beings pride themselves of being the best creatures that ever could be. Better than the animals, because they have reason. But in Brobdingnag, Gulliver is made to see that he is a mere mimicry of humanity. In fact, his figure, his status, his personality merely mimics humanity. It's a mockery to the real human beings who are the Brobdingnagians. So, the Brobdingnagians are ruled by an emperor, and the land is largely peaceful, cultured, and civilized. Gulliver is cared for by the farmer's daughter. Gulliver is cared for by the farmer's daughter by name Glumdalclitch. Glumdalclitch, spelled Gulmdal. Because, you see, Gulliver is helpless in Brobdingnac. Everything is too large, too big for him. All right? The grass in Brobdingnac are like the tallest trees in England. The grass in Brobdingnac are like trees in England. So Gulliver will not be able to make use of anything except his help. He's a baby in Brobdingnac. And that is how Glumdarklich cares for him like a baby, carries him in his arms, undresses him to Gulliver's shame, all right? Feeds him, bathes him, all right? Baby Gulliver. Of course, he is embarrassed, all right? An adult being reduced to a baby in this manner. But of course, he cannot help himself, all right? So if you read the text, you could see the point where he's embarrassed when Glumdarklich undresses him to bathe him. All right? But there's nothing he can do. Even the spoon in Brobdingnac are too big for Gulliver to use. All right? The spoons look like paddles to him. Not even to talk about the chairs. He cannot sit, and then they are too big for him. So this farmer's daughter has to lift him and place him on the chair. Okay? Because in relation to the chair, it just looks like one rat or cat. And this is how Gulliver becomes not only an object of curiosity, but an extra income earner for the farmer, who takes him on shows around town. And people pay him to watch Gulliver, because they've never seen someone like this before. Okay? So that talks about the human need for economic exploitation. It is in the human nature to see the economic benefits in any situation. All right? If you hardly see the economic benefits of any situation, maybe you are a different human being. So immediately the farmer sees him, he knows immediately that he could make some more money from him, some additional income. So human nature is inherently exploitative. Human nature is what? Inherently exploitative. To make good economic use of every situation. Even if it is a human being that is involved. Doesn't matter. All right? So you must understand that in society, people simply look at you as a potential economic income source. And that is how society prompts us to think. All right? Especially in the era of marketing and consumption. People are sources of income. All right, literature usually reveals the hard truth about human realities, and you must come to terms with these truths. A set of people gather